Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Golden Nuggets podcast. Today's episode is a bit special. Just to do a bit of an introduction, my name is Hanafi. Beside me, as usual, I have Ame. And today's guest, he's an actor, director, producer, screenwriter, lecturer, and also an award winner.
Wow.
We'll find out more about him. Introducing to you, Mr. Michael Chua.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the big entrance. But life is still the same. It's still a struggle. It's always a struggle for somebody who wants to live their passion, I think. And in life, the more you know, the more you've gone through, the more experiences you have, the more you realize you don't know. So it's always a perpetual quest to seek and learn and make mistakes and then start all over again, basically.
Improvements always,
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael, our podcast, we actually interview a lot of industry leaders. And I'm looking at your profile, you have done 400 gigs in 10 years. I think that is really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, who can actually say that, right?
Depends on how you look at it. I mean, I tried very hard. And most actors try very hard. But I think coming from somebody outside the industry who has lived and worked in Europe for 20 over years in 19 countries, 4 continents, met many people, live in different kind of regimes, gone through the financial highs and lows. That means sometimes I'm rich, sometimes I'm broke. So that gives me a lot of common sense on how to approach the market of acting and get more gigs.
Okay.
You got to be highly reliable. You got to keep questioning yourself, why should he hire you? Right? Okay, good looks, I know I have, but no, just kidding. Good looks is not enough. At some point, you must be able to deliver and give value to whoever is casting you. It's an extremely competitive industry. You have to try really hard, keep reinventing yourself, learn new skills, learn how to play the guitar, how to sing, how to dance. I still cannot dance, but I would like to learn. Learn accents, languages. Some languages I'm fluent but not natural in. For example, Mandarin. Surprise, surprise. You might think that all Chinese people speak Mandarin. Not true, because in back the days we speak regional languages, right? Hokkien, Teochew.
Hokkien.
I'm a Teochew. I can speak Teochew, Hokkien, Cantonese fluently. I do voiceovers in those languages.
I see.
Okay. So that is another niche that I discovered that other people cannot do, and I can do it.
So 19 countries and 4 continents in the past, how many years was that?
20 odd years.
About 20 years.
Slightly over 20 years,
And these 400 gigs that you actually have accumulated, is in all these 19 countries, or?
No, I wish. Those are different gigs. Those are technology gigs. I was an information security consultant, an independent one. That means I was not working for any big companies. I'm working for Michael Chua himself. So when I sell, it's like based on my track record, my abilities, my skills, are you willing to hire me at this price? For how long? That was what I did in my so-called tech side of my life, which I'm still doing a little bit of it because I love the intricacy of security. You always have to think out the box and to think how somebody can break it and how you can prevent it, and always be a few steps ahead of it. So that part I'm interested. For the acting side, is mostly in Singapore. There are parts of it in Malaysia, Indonesia, and China.
Okay. So we touched a bit about your background since we are already there, right? You were in IT, in cybersecurity. And how many years was that? And what exactly were you studying back then to eventually have this career?
I actually graduated as a civil engineer.
Oh,
never practiced. So before I graduated, I was lucky enough to get a part-time job programming for the geometric design of roads in a local company in Australia then. So while I was earning good money, having a relevant job, an interesting job, my contemporaries are waiting in Chinese restaurants, earning a pittance and having a hard time with Hong Kong bosses. Those Hong Kong restaurant owners are very tough with their waiters. So I had it good, and when I graduated, it was a choice of either to go to become a civil engineer, site engineer, which is how they do it in Australia, versus being a computer programmer, which by then I had 2 years experience. I was quite good at it. So the obvious choice was to be a programmer. I was paid more in aircon conditions, not in the site. And besides, I don't think I could have been a site engineer managing Australians, because you really have to understand their culture. They don't respect rank and position. They don't care what rank and position you are. If they like you, it's fine. They listen to you. If you try to be bossy, push them around, that's the end of you, right? So I am not familiar enough of their culture. They are nice people generally, but you really have to be one of the boys. And that was too short a time. I just graduated. So the choice was to become a programmer, and I became very good at it, highly productive, probably 3 times as productive as my co-workers. And when I saw the opportunity to become a freelance independent in Europe, Britain at that time, I just took the chance and went for it. And became quite successful, surprisingly. In the beginning, of course, it's difficult. You go there and everything is new. The pound was, I think, $4 to the pound. It was extremely hard. You really have to stinge every penny, and there were a lot of tricksters and con men in London wanting your money, pickpockets, the Romani gypsies. Just difficult. It's a brand new culture. Hookers as well. The trouble is that we are used to the hookers here. Over there, the hookers, some of them don't look like hookers. They look like a university student, right? And they say, "Hey, how are you?" Oh, I thought they are friendly, you know. Then later I realized that they are hookers. So it was a lot of adjustments in the beginning, but as I went along, I became good at adjusting to new situations, and I think that's why I could get into the acting industry quite smoothly.
Which year was this when you were?
Oh my God! Now you're tracing it. I went overseas in 1983,
and that was to Australia when you were studying.
Okay. And then further, I went to London, and then the 90s, the 2000s, I came back to Malaysia, actually, to Kuala Lumpur, where I was paid quite well, and that enticed me to come over here and gave me the wrong impression that the market in Southeast Asia, or particularly Singapore, is very good for information security specialists, and I was proven utterly wrong. And I started a company, and that didn't do very well. Because Asians are not willing to pay for consulting or advice. They pay for products, a box, a car.
Products or service.
So they don't want to pay for advice. Advice should be free. But then it cannot be, because I've spent my time in educating myself, buying books, practicing. All this is cost. And it's just not a practice here. So that didn't work out. And then I went back to become a freelance here, which also not very good, but I managed to get some freelance work here. And then one day I got a message online. Somebody saw my Facebook photo. That's why I see my good looks. They saw my Facebook photo and say that, would you like to act for my short film? And I said, yeah, I'm curious. Do you have acting experience? Well, those days when I was a student in the Singapore Polytechnic, I was a volunteer in the Welfare Services Club, and that was every weekend, and usually we will sing, dance and act and talk to the people there. So that was practice. I didn't know at that time, we were just kids, we were having fun. So that became useful to transit into film acting in front of camera. The adjustment was to camera was a bit tedious at first, because I was not used to doing the same bloody thing over and over again. You know? And that was how film acting was. And that needed some getting used to it. Sometimes the camera are literally 6 inches away from your face, and you could pretend the camera is not there and act steady and all that. So that was how it happened.
So that was how you eventually got into acting. How long after that did you have your second gig in terms of acting?
Oh, very fast. Very, very fast.
And was that something where someone approached you, or you were looking out for it?
A bit of both. The reason why I took it seriously was because the first gig, that director was very generous with her compliments. She was saying that, look, Michael, I'm a very good judge of talent. You are good.
Wow.
I would consider that you take up seriously acting.
Okay.
Then I thought, I believe her. No? I didn't know any better. If she said, Michael, you sucks, give up and die, I would believe her. No hard feelings. So therein lies the importance of telling an honest positive. Right? You tell, must be honest, don't bullshit. Honest positive. If somebody is good in something, tell them how good they are and suggest maybe how they should proceed. And this honest positive has taken me to 400 over gigs. Several awards, various awards. I think I have 3 or 4 acting awards already. Best film, even behind the camera, I got awards and all that. The motivation, the little spark, and the voice next to my ear of the first director that tells me that.
Did you have any interest at all before that very first gig?
Or was it just a gig that landed?
I think yes. I mean, children, if you look at children play, they're all playing acting. So inherently, all people likes to act. I think they don't know because they become shy. They get discouraged by naysayers saying that, okay, sure or not, it's stupid, like this and that. So people get discouraged. But generally, people like to act. In a less repressive society, well, I gotta be careful. Singapore not that repressive, but relative values. Like in America, most of them like to be in front of the TV, right? They are full of themselves. It's stupid, too much of that. So I think it's natural that people like to act. So now the next question could be how much more I like to act compared to others. And there was a girl who asked me whether I have a hidden talent. And I said, no, that's why it's hidden. I was being cheeky, making fun. Then she said something very wise. She said, no, what I meant was that, is there something that you're very good at? And when other people they tried so hard, and you wonder, why is it so hard? I did it just like that, and they find it so hard. So then I said, then acting is probably my hidden talent that I didn't know. Thank you for bringing that up.
This podcast is brought to you by Reka Studio. If you are struggling with creating content because you have no time, you don't know how to, and you are lacking of ideas, this is for you. For just $1, here's how Reka Studio can create 8 reels for you for 1 whole month. And the best part is, it'll only take 3 hours of your time. First, the Reka team researches your industry and creates a custom content guide, including everything from the best SEO keywords, top videos in your niche, and the best topics for you to speak on to connect with your audience. Secondly, we have a recording process that allows us to record high quality videos that looks professional, and it'll only take minutes to set up. Thirdly, our team handles all the editing, so each video holds your audience attention while still being authentic. Fourth, our team will schedule the post to your selected platforms on autopilot. And the best part is, all this for just $1 to get you started. We can only slot in 5 more clients, so visit tjnpodcast.com/Reka to find out more. Terms and conditions apply. Nuggets, back to the episode.
Hey, everyone.
So I think in that sense, if you have that age, you tend to be a little bit more interested than others on relative values.
Okay. So we track back about your very first gig, right? You mentioned about the honest positive and all from that director. So first of all, I would like to know at that point of time when you first got the gig, right? Like, what is it within you that really made you want to really proceed with this? Is it because like you had you were jaded with your previous career and then you decided like, okay, I should try something new, or this is just something like okay, since a friend of mine wants to do this short film and he needs an actor, I don't mind just helping it out?
It's definitely not jaded. I'm never jaded with anything. If something is bad, I make it good.
Oh, okay.
So I'm never jaded. Secondly, she's not my friend. I didn't know her. She just approached me. Well, she's now my friend, I suppose. So I said yes out of curiosity. It seems interesting. I've never done that before. A lot of things was new to me, even though I had stage experience. A lot of stuff was new to me. The sound and all those stuff that they adjust here and there. And they use vocabulary like, let's cheat Michael. What do you mean cheat Michael? That means cheat the position of Michael such that it looks realistic on camera. Because the camera is 2D camera. We are 3D or arguably multi-dimensional, right?
Yes.
I mean, some of the smell cannot be captured by the camera, right? Well, thankfully. So So sometimes your physical position has to be a bit awkward so that it looks good on camera. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. And the second part of the question is like, do you really in that moment, do you really enjoy what you do? And at that moment, have you ever thought like I really think I want to leave my career in IT and cybersecurity to really pursue this full time? Aside from the fact that she gave that honest positive.
It was rather tedious. As I said, a lot of things were new, and I was getting tired doing the same thing over and over again. In stage, you do from A to Z and you finish.
Okay.
Right? Okay, a lot of rehearsals, I know, but you do from A to Z and you finish, and that there's a certain satisfaction of accomplishment. But on film, you keep doing over and over again, and sometimes they've cut off of you holding a cup. And I was thinking, why you want me to hold a cup?
Yeah.
Right? But it's necessary. But at that time, I don't know. So there was too much to process in your brain. So I would say that I was really exhausted, actually.
Okay.
Exhausted acting first time. And it was a lead in a short film as well. So
Oh, it was a lead.
it was a lead. Not a calafare, no.
Oh, really? So
Do
your
you
very
remember-
first.
Do you remember the title of the short film? Is it something that we can find online?
Yeah.
You can find only the trailer.
Trailer.
Wow, them don't look. Them bad. I'm not going to tell you. Them bad. Yeah.
What?
That was shot on film though, not on digital. On
Let's
film.
see.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, not so good because I needed time to get used to it, and stage requires very big expression, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Extreme. If you look in the camera and you express that, it's very ugly.
Yeah.
And there were several retakes because I've been asked to
Mellow down.
mellow down a lot. Yeah. So I wouldn't say I enjoyed. I didn't hate it. It was something new,
Yeah.
but it was just too tiring. Yeah.
And I mean, we didn't know that you were lead in your very first gig.
Yeah.
So how long does it take for the entire production? How long were you involved?
5 days,
5 days. 5 days straight.
almost.
And this is in Singapore.
Yeah, in Singapore.
Okay. So my question is because usually the first part of the podcast we usually talk a bit about the background, right? So my question would be, you were in overseas. Perhaps I think last you mentioned was you were in KL.
Yeah.
You had a job there and you were also freelancing there. How do you eventually get back to Singapore to be doing this?
As I said, KL gave me the wrong impression that the market for information security consulting services is very good, which is not the case at all. So I came here back to Singapore to start a company. I started recruiting a small team and doing business development and all that. We were still profitable, but it was too tough compared to what I could have done in Europe or even what I could have done just as a freelance. So yeah, so that brought me back here.
Okay, so starting a company, that was what brought you back here.
Yeah.
Okay. This was on which year, roughly?
2002.
2002. So this is just after the Asia financial crisis, and then things are about to pick up.
After SARS.
After SARS. Okay.
Okay. So at that point of time, because we are relatively younger,
Oh, thank you so much.
yeah, we are relatively younger. We want to understand a bit about the landscape at that point of time. Why do you choose to start a business just after SARS when economy was actually very bad, and eventually when you got the gig to be doing acting, right? Was this just an additional form of income that you want to bring in or anything like that?
Okay, there is no good or bad time, but to me that's a good time because when the economy is bad, that's a good time to build. You can get good people for
Cheap.
affordable price. No, say cheap, affordable prices. And when you're starting something from scratch, you ain't gonna get a lot of gigs anyway, right? So you're gonna build up slowly. So it's okay. You won't feel the pinch compared to somebody who has been around for 10 years that used to get a lot of gigs and now there's a dip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they have infrastructure and overheads and stuff to feed, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you started, then you don't have such burden yet. So I think it was a good time for me. What's your next part of the question?
The next part is since the economy was not very good, was this acting thing just an additional cash flow for you?
No. Wow.
It's just purely
when you get
out of
started, you don't get
curiosity,
paid a lot in the first place, and it was a surprise. So it wasn't like something I planned. Oh, this is additional income stream and all that. And when you get started, you don't get a lot of money when you just started.
I'm curious, how much was not a lot of money?
At that point of time, for the 5 days.
No, better don't say those kind of things. Don't talk money here. Talk passion.
Fashion. Okay.
Okay. So, how long did you actually, or perhaps, how many gigs did you do to eventually for you to decide like I want to pursue this full time and I do not want to focus much on the IT company that you actually started?
Well, from the first gig, but I still continue to focus on the company that I started. The reason why I stopped the company eventually was because there ain't this kind of demand in Singapore.
Okay.
Not because of acting and so on.
Okay. So you strike out the company, decide to close down.
I kept the company for a long time, but it was dormant. And there were situations when I have overseas clients that they will feel more comfortable with your company than I have a company. For the case of the Middle East, they don't care. They don't care, and Singapore doesn't care as well because overseas incomes are not taxed.
Yep.
So nobody care, and I don't want the paperwork of having companies. And
Okay. And then now we go back to your acting career, right? So from the first gig, you decide like, okay, I really want to pursue this full time. It's also because of the director that you have, the positive, honest compliments that she actually gave you. From that point to the point where you first got your awards, how many gigs did you do, and what was the film that actually helped you or led you to get your very first award?
That was, you see, some might say God sent. If you are a believer, some say God sent. Because after the first gig, I continuously get gigs. And by my fifth film was Hentak Kaki already.
Oh.
That was
your fifth film.
Yeah, that was my fifth film. And
wow.
That won me Best Actor. The film won the Best Film in the Singapore International Film Festival. The MC was saying that the director was lucky to cast a veteran. Then I was also very nervous. Going down to stage and give some words when you're not a veteran at all and you won some award, right? And not only that film went viral and really resonate with people a lot. And even military people who are not from the Singapore Armed Forces, from UK and US, when they watched the film, they could resonate with it. That was really blew me off my feet. It was... I can't explain some of these things. I can only say it happened.
Okay. How do you even get casted for Hentak Kaki?
That's a good question. Interesting question, because I, of course, like to get as many gigs as possible, because then I was on a roll already, acting them shook and all that. So I wanted that role, and that's what actors do all the time. We try very hard for that role. So, and when it comes to the audition, I spoke the same way as I do now. And the director said that, well, your English is a little bit too polished to be an Inche. I said, oh no, I thought I did my best to get cast to speak properly. Then I said, no, don't worry. We can work together to chip off my English and speak Singlish and speak military lingo. US Ranger, Airborne Ranger, you have or not, that kind of stuff, So that took some time to craft it, and I would say that director has a very sharp concern for detail, and that's why that film worked very well. We went through the language together with Muru, the co-actor, and at some point it became Hokkien. I said, wow, Hokkien army. No, too much Hokkien. Vulgar words cannot, little bit can. So we adjusted the lingo, adjusted the enunciation of words. So instead of any problem, you got a problem with me? You got problem? That kind of thing. That kind of in a very, very cheap and bad pronunciation of words. And then I got the gig. So happy.
This was something that you were searching for, or did somebody from the
I applied for it.
production?
Hang on. I think there was a casting call. I think there was a
Casting
casting
call,
call.
okay.
I responded to it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. So Hentakaki actually got you got best actor for the film itself. How long was that gig overall?
The production time,
Yeah.
5 days.
Oh, 5 days
That
also.
was 5 days also.
Yeah. That's why the director is a really meticulous guy. At the end of the production, he was sitting there. He said, "Well, I can't think already. I can't think." Then when the film was fully edited, said, "I don't want to see the film already. I see it like he really edited very detailed. That's why it's good for a film to be good. Everybody has to be good. Sound, the light, the costume. Everybody has to be good. Yeah.
Have you worked with this director? He's the director and also the producer for this.
No, producer is somebody else. I haven't worked with him before.
Oh, but after that, do you continue?
After that, I want to work with him. I said, let's do some more film. Make Hentak Kaki the movie, I said, no lah, Hentak Kaki. Now I'm happy. So he's not ambitious at all now, which is a disappointment. I wanted to do like Hentak Kaki the movie, the series, right? Movie 1, movie 2, movie 3. No, nothing happened.
Wow. I mean, now you are a screenwriter and also a producer. You can actually.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a lot of ideas. I managed to produce several shots. One of my first shot is the next plot is about a grieving old man struggling against religious stigma to be buried next to his late wife because the wife
That's interesting.
changed to another religion.
okay, that's great. Can we take a pause while we end this part 1?
Yeah.
And then we'll use that as a segue for part 2.
Okay, sure.
And I think for the audience, thank you guys for tuning in. We have a lot of golden nuggets that actually Michael has already shared.
Yes.
You guys have to dissect it. And I think one of the things that I really like was I mean, you shared quite a fair bit, but one of the things I really like was I don't get jaded. When I get jaded, I'm just paraphrasing. Then I make myself be awesome. Right? Okay, so with that being said, thank you for tuning in to part 1. Stay tuned to part 2. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.